Hi, I'm Veronique. Let's talk about digital storytelling in non-formal learning. Non-formal education consists in a gathering of educational practices which are not included in the formal system of education. Non-formal learning is a deliberate choice of the person outside of the systems of formal learning in any organization pursuing educational and training purposes. Non-formal education can be a scout group, an association defending rights of women, an union, a youth center, a swimming school or a football club, a digital competence center, and many other examples. Non-formal education is based on the needs of the learner. It is mostly participative and the learnings are coming voluntary to the organization. For children, they can be obliged by the parents or the school. Digital storytelling can be used for advocacy when the learners want to address a specific topic or simply talk about a nice activity. At the same time that the theory about non-formal learning is adopted, UNESCO developed the concept of lifelong learning. UNESCO makes a difference between formal, non-formal, and informal learning. Informal learning is the process whereby every individual acquires attitudes, values, skills, and knowledge from daily experience. And non-formal learning is any organized educational activity outside the established formal system. Digital storytelling is a group process, so it hasn't a place in the informal learning process. But we can talk about informal learning when the viewer looks at a digital story on the net. We want to talk to an expert of non-formal education, Marzena Gawenda, training manager at Youth for Understanding.
I think the methods, they clearly come from the kind of methodology that you use. And in non-formal education methodology, what is really important is this learner-centered approach. It's tailoring the learning to the needs of the group of people or of the learner, singular learner. And what is also really important is that the learners take responsibility for their own learning. They need to set also their learning goals, and they need to see how can they reach those goals with the help of trainers. So if they see throughout the program that something doesn't fit or something is not really meeting their needs, they are encouraged to give feedback to the trainers team so that they can do something about it. And maybe they can change the program to fit the needs, even on the go. It happens sometimes from day to day if you have a longer residential training that participants say, we really want to go deeper into that topic, even at the expense or cost of another one. And then the trainer's team needs to take this into account when they revise the program for the next day and maybe prolong some sessions and shorten others. So this is the way how the learner can influence their own learning, which doesn't really happen in formal settings, I believe. This is also a big difference. And because in non-formal settings, you want a learner to be engaged and interact, and you want to provide space for contributions, for exchange, for really harvesting what is already there, the knowledge that is already there. You need to, of course, use the methods that facilitate this. That's why very rarely you would have something like a lecture, because lecture in itself is just feeding the knowledge to participants. It's not really allowing for much interaction unless it's an interactive lecture. But also what we prefer in non-formal education is that the learners, they find themselves the answers rather than they're fed the answers. They're given the answers like this is how it is. It's not the way it works in non-formal education. You want your participants to find out the answers for themselves. So you don't want to give them recipes for something. You want them to find out for themselves those recipes. And that, of course, implies the methods you will choose, which will be possibly as much engaging and interactive as possible. We use tools such as open space technology or World Cafe, brainstorming sessions, small discussions in little groups, not in a big group, because then you can't really have the participation, equal participation of everyone. And I believe you can find a lot of other methods if you just go on the internet and you Google non-formal education methods. You will find a lot of really good descriptions on what you can use, how you can use it, so that you can maximize the contributions from every single participant, but also to maximize their involvement in the activity.